Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, find a way to lose. Please subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Now let's jump into it. Hold your horses. Let's not take it to the stupid. Alexander Usyk, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. They need to go away. Get the hell out of boxing. Shoot. Hit the road. Haul ass. Because to be honest with you people, whenever we talk about heavyweight boxing, I mean, those are the four names, man, that we just keep kind of recycling over and over and over. And I'm going to be honest with you. As long as those four names are still around in the heavyweight division, they're going to take all the shine away from other heavyweights who are doing great things, but just haven't been able to crack the surface to kind of get some of that four horsemen shine. Now, I truly believe, and I've been saying this for a while, that there's a huge turnover about to take place in boxing. You look across all the weight divisions, the guys who are the elite, and just look at how long they've been fighting. Listen to what they're saying now. Everybody wants the big money fights. A lot of people not really worried too much about championships and stuff anymore. It's just about money, money, money. And that's across all the weight divisions. Now, there still are some who managed to get to the top of their weight division and who want legacy. But for the heavyweights, I think we're seeing Alexander Usyk. Once he and Fury get through their 2 fights, maybe 3, who knows? I really don't think Usyk is going to keep hanging around. And you say, well, what would be the reason for Usyk to leave the sport of boxing? I mean, damn, if you need me to answer that, then you must have had a bowl of dumbass for breakfast this morning. All that crap that's going on over there in Ukraine, whether you agree with the war or you don't, that takes a toll on somebody. Being away from his family, that's a lot. You know, I'm gonna describe it this way. That's like being in a full contact sport, physically and mentally, with what Usyk is dealing with being away from his family. I'm not even talking about the boxing. I'm just talking about having to be away from his family. Physically and mentally, this man struggles. And then he has to come on and take on the training and getting ready for boxing. So in his personal and professional life, he's getting his ass kicked physically and mentally. And I'm just not sure Usyk wants to continue doing that. We'll see how things go with him and Fury in their 2 fights, and if he continues on. But I think he should fizzle out and go on and retire. He's made a bunch of money since he's come over to the heavyweight division. So he's in a good space. Then you got old Deontay Bronze Bomber, the Alabama Hammer Slammer, Mr. Till This Day, Mr. I found the ayahuasca. I just want to love everybody. I'm so happy. Look, Deontay Wilder, I don't even know if he's got 1 foot out the door and 1 foot in boxing. I think he's got 1 foot out the door and the other foot out there somewhere in the bush, wherever the hell they're growing that ayahuasca, whatever the hell it's called. I truly believe Deontay Wilder, much as I like seeing him fight, and it's just the suspense, man. You're sitting on the edge of your seat, just waiting for him to land something. Like that's a pretty good feeling as a boxing fan, just knowing this guy at any point in time, he's going to tranquilize somebody. But at the same time, he came into the sport of boxing really not to come out here and be the be known as the hardest puncher ever in the heavyweight division. He just came out here to try to find a way to make some money to take care of his daughter, who had spina bifida, man, and he took it all the way, didn't he? This man, what he accomplished in boxing. I mean, only 1% of fighters get to the level to where Deontay Wilder was able to reach, and some people say he was able to get there, the way Mike Tyson would describe it, with somewhat primitive skills. Just his right hand is all he needed to get him to where he made, reportedly, over $150 million in his boxing career. And Tyson Fury has a lot to do with that. But long story short, Wilder showed us in his last fight as well that he got the silk pajama syndrome. He may not necessarily have the dedication and commitment and the desire to really get in there and have a mash-up, crash-up style of fight anymore. In addition to that, he's got that coach, Malik Scott, who's totally ruined him, in my opinion. So I think Wilder just needs to go away, and let's open up some opportunities for these other fighters. Tyson Fury, the sooner he goes away, the better. This man done retired about 35 times anyway. But I think Tyson Fury has been good for the sport. He's been entertaining. I do think Tyson Fury is one of the guys who is heavily connected to that secret society. And remember, people think I joke about that shit. I'm not joking. He was told that he'd be led to unimaginable wealth and that he would also be led to the top of the heavyweight division when he decided to return after becoming obese and addicted to drugs and alcohol. And look at where he's reached. But at the end of the day, I think out of these four faces, Usyk, Wilder, Fury, and AJ, I think Fury could end up fighting a bit longer than all these guys just because of the commitment he made in the deal he made with the secret society to where he just can't walk off on his own terms. And I truly believe that. But long story short, he's been doing this for a while. His wife wants him to take a break, but she wants him to be happy at the same time. But I think it's time for Tyson Fury too. Finish whatever the hell you're doing with them Saudis. Get the hell out the sport of boxing. Let these other guys come up. Then you got Anthony Joshua. He and Tyson Fury are going to be the two that hang around longer than Wilder and Usyk. Joshua got himself in an entanglement with DAZN. Signed his life away to DAZN and Matchroom. So Joshua going to keep fighting. But I truly believe that even if AJ goes on and becomes undisputed, or if he picks up another title, or if he becomes unified, or whatever he does in the heavyweight division, I still feel there's a little bit of some of that fire that was in AJ. I just don't think it's a roaring blaze anymore. Still think there's a fire there. He got more fire in him than Deontay for sure. But that roaring blaze that he once had and Wilder once had, neither one of them have it anymore. But again, I think AJ will fight on probably longer than what he should, just because of the commitment that he made to DAZN and Matchroom, and they're going to make sure they get every cent out of Anthony Joshua that they can. And he seems to be okay with it, because he, like Canelo said, he wants to become a billionaire too. So if these four go away, then what do we have? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, this guy, Ajit Caballel, that's somebody who I'm really paying attention to, because he fought Arslan Makhmudov. And Arslan Makhmudov, you know, he was a very intimidating fighter, tall, strong. But what Ajit Caballel was able to do, blocking shots, getting out the way of shots, boxing, countering, upstairs, downstairs. Now, don't get me wrong. He exposed Makhmudov. He really did. But at the same time, he was still in here destroying a guy who's ranked, you know, number 3, number 4 in some of these sanctioned bodies, number 7. Okay? So he took a guy who in 3 sanctioned bodies was ranked at 7, 3, and 4 and made him look like he didn't even belong. So Ajit Kabayel, I think, could rise to the occasion and succeed these 4 fighters who we've been talking about. Then there's Joe Joyce. You know, he's been fighting for a while too. He doesn't have a lot of fights, but remember, he turned pro, he was a lot older. But I'm not so sure Joe Joyce's punch resistance is the same. But what I will tell you is, I think Joyce, depending on the fighter he has in front of him, especially with the changes he's going to make, I think Joe Joyce still has an opportunity with the 4 horsemen go away to make some noise. But Frank Sanchez more than Joe Joyce, I think, really is going to pick up a title sooner than later. And I think Frank Sanchez and Caballero will be a very good fight. Frank Sanchez is too fast, too sharp, too powerful for most of these fighters. He is like these guys who are 6'7", 6'6", long arms, maybe not the fastest hands. He is their worst nightmare because of the angles, the in and out, the foot movement, the way he's able to get to places, get to certain points in the ring to where he can display his strengths. He is just one of the worst nightmares for these fighters who are much bigger. Then there's Jared Anderson. He's shown us that he has a lot of potential, but he's also come out and showed us that maybe he's already gone through some of the mental anguish that you see guys who've been doing this for a while. He's showing signs of that already, and that's not good in my opinion. But as far as how he fights, well, what we saw is, and I truly believe this, if Jared Anderson would have been in the ring with Deontay Wilder this past weekend, I think Jared Anderson would have beat Deontay Wilder. If Jared Anderson would have been fighting Otto Waller, I think he would have beat him. I'm just being honest with you. If he would have been against AJ, I think he would have gave AJ hell. AJ sparred Wallen. They were very familiar with each other. They fought in the amateurs. So AJ wasn't really worried too much about Wallen. He still looked great. But I'm going to tell you, makes you wonder what AJ would do if he had someone in there who hit him back. So, still not too sold on AJ really being ready to go on all the way in the heavyweight division. I know he can. His skill set, his power, but we just have to see when he gets in there with someone who cracks him, what happens. Now, one thing we do know with Flip Hrgovic, you hit him, he's going to keep fighting. I think he was probably in the worst position ever in his life after losing his dad and then having to go fight Zhilei Zhang. And Zhang damn near killed that man in the ring. But Flip Hrgovic had more stamina, and that's what ultimately saved him in that fight. But I felt that Zhang deserved the win. But nonetheless, Flip Hrgovic showed us that on his worst night, it's hard to beat him. Now, Flip Hrgovic's going to be around for a while. He only has 16 fights. This man is an Olympian, amazing amateur pedigree, and he can fight. So we just need these 4 horses to kind of get out the way and let these young stallions start to stretch their legs. Flip Hrgovic is right there. He's right on the cusp of greatness. AJ may derail all that if AJ and Hrgovic's next, but I have a feeling. I don't have a feeling. I know Hrgovic's going to hit AJ. What's AJ going to do when he gets hit hard? We know what Hrgovic does when he gets hard because Zhang hit him with some death blows, and Hrgovic pushed through it. Don't get me wrong, AJ can crack too, man. AJ hits hard as hell. But we just have an idea how AJ reacts when he gets hit, and we have an idea how Hrgovic reacts. And I think Hrgovic will beat AJ. And I'm not saying that because I have anything against AJ. I just think when shit gets thick in there, especially if Hrgovic can stand up to AJ's shots, I think AJ will freeze up. But Ben Davison has a brilliant mind. So again, it's kind of hard to say. But I'd say like 60-40, Hrgovic clips AJ. Then you got Joseph Parker. Still hanging around, still making noise. Managed to get himself four wins this year. 3 wins just to stay busy, and the 4th win was a very impressive win over Deontay Wilder. I'm not so sure how far Joseph Parker goes. He's been fighting for a while. I do believe he's heavily connected with the secret society as well. How many heavyweights you know fought 4 times this year? I mean, I'm just waiting for you to give me an answer. How many heavyweights fought 4 times this year? Okay. Now, some would say, well, these guys can fight more. They just turn fights down because it's not a lot of money. Names aren't known. So that's why these guys aren't as active as they could be. Or they could be fighting. But they'd have to take like, a 1/4 of the money they used to get or a 1/10 of the money they used to get, and they don't want to do that. Because it's a risk. They can still get in there and lose. So then that affects their position. And I understand that argument. But I still know it's hard to get fights. And when I see Parker lose to AJ, lose to Dillian White, and just struggle, but all of a sudden have this like resurgence, man. I'm like, out of all the heavyweights, why, how come the stars are lining up for Joseph Parker? But that's a whole nother story. But that being said, if he gonna keep looking how he did against Deontay Wilder, especially him getting older. Now, don't get me wrong, he ain't like he's 40 years old, but I'm just saying, the man has 33 fights, 3 losses, has been KO'd. I just think, for me, I ain't really trusting that his nose is necessarily clean. But nonetheless, he's another one of those who probably just needs to go away, but he's not, because he's going to keep trying to stack up his dough. Now, Zhilei Zhang, he got some age on him. Think he's like 40 now. But again, another one of those guys, amateur, picked up a silver medal, lost to AJ, turned pro. He wasn't, he was kind of up there in age and has managed to finally put himself on the radar. I think Zhilei Zhang, with his style, although he's at an advanced age, I think Zhilei Zhang can go very far. Probably be another one of them Chinese George Foreman, where this guy ends up fighting, into his late 40s. Because Zhang has that southpaw style, he has the basic fundamentals, and he has power, and he knows what he does well. And he has self-belief. And he's just super fast hands, super powerful, and he's big. It just makes it hard for any of these guys to get in there and really try to bang with Zhang. But when you start going through and looking at these names on here, man, I just think it's just going to be tough for these younger, not even these younger, these guys who are kind of up and coming and rebuilding, like Daniel Dubois. Then you got Fabio Wardley, who, in my opinion, would have been nice to have on that card. You got so many different names, and Andy Ruiz still has some legs on him. But I just think these guys need to disappear. Let F.A. Jagba get some opportunities. Let Torres, Richard Torres get some opportunities. And let's see how far they can go with this. Francis Ngannou, he's ranked now. I would hate to compare him to any of these fighters, but the bottom line is he may really have an opportunity to make some noise. But the one guy I think, out of all the names we've talked about, they got a guy called Bakodir Jalilov. Let me tell y'all something. That Jalilov, if y'all don't know who he is, y'all better figure it out real quick. Because Bakodir Jalilov is a problem. I'm talking about a problem. And I really don't see anybody beating him. Not right now. Danny Dubois, all these guys, they're probably a notch above him because they've been putting in work for a while and their names are known. But this Jalilov guy, he just needs an opportunity. Matter of fact, next year when they have the heavyweight, I'm calling it a tournament because that's what that shit was. When they have the second part to this heavyweight tournament, I pray they put Jalilov over there. and let him fight some of these guys who have more popular names. And let's see what happens with old Jalalov. I'm telling you, Jalalov destroys all these guys. But that being said, we'll see what happens. Jermaine Franklin's still out there floating around. Seems like he's not active right now, going through some stuff with his promoter, Dimitri Salita. So let's see. But that being said, when it comes to these heads, Usyk, Wilder, Fury, AJ, I think they need to go away. Let Caballero get his shine, Alunga get his shine, Wardley, Ajagba, even Wallen to bounce back. Let him get some shine. Adelaide can rebuild. Jared Anderson, let all these guys get their shine, man. Lanier Perro, Makhmudov fell off. I think he'll bounce back. But that Jalalov and Ricardo Torres, them guys are making noise. Frank Sanchez, let's start to have more discussions about those guys. But there's only so much we can talk about unless they're out here fighting and doing big things, But I keep trying to put the names out there into the atmosphere because I know the direction that things are going. Because Usyk, Wilder, they ain't going to keep fighting. I say, man, maybe 2-3 fights, maybe year and a half, and they're done. Not that Usyk can't continue. I just think it's too much on his plate. Fury, all right, he's in bed with the Saudis. He's got to do what they say. Joshua, he's kind of got his hands tied, and I think you're going to end up seeing these guys start to take losses. And I think next year Fury will lose to Usyk. I was saying that I think Fury beats him, but now I think Usyk could get him. I think Usyk's going to get him. Like, something just tells me that Fury ain't the same fighter. But that being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Let's let these other guys start to bubble up and get their opportunities and get their shine. And these 4 horsemen who are now becoming dinosaurs need to just go ahead and fade away into the sunset. I'm in the breeze.